What's up? What's up? What's up? Still a nation, still a fan, still a faithful, still a family. How's everybody doing, man? Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, who all of a sudden just got a bolt of bright sunlight there. I don't know what that was. Camera's acting funny, man. By the way, sidebar, I think I might look into getting another lens. I like the lens that I have here, but I think I want a slightly wider lens so I don't have to cut so much of me out. I always tell y'all exactly what I'm doing. But what's up, man? How's everybody doing, man? I hope everybody's well. I hope we don't have too many moments of the flickering camera focusing in and out. By the way, I got some new lights, use some of the donations that you guys have been so gracious to offer. I've been doing that. And yeah, I got some new lights coming tomorrow. I thought they would come by tonight, but we'll have to see how they look the next time I stream. So want to say welcome, and I want to do what we always do, guys. First and foremost, definitely want to say what's up to the early commenters. We always do that. Read a few names. Then we'll get into the topics. I don't have a whole lot to talk about tonight, as you guys can imagine. I have the phone lines open for people who want to call in and, speak their business really quick. Then we'll be out of here. So let me get to the topics here, guys. If you give me just 2 seconds, I'll let you know exactly what we're going to get into tonight. What we will be discussing tonight, folks. So look at my notes here. We definitely want to talk about J.J. Watt. I know a lot of people thought he would be a Steeler. He is not. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about JuJu Smith-Schuster as well, man. That's the headline of the show. Also, you see him in the thumbnail, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time there. The Texans released 2 offensive linemen that might, be of interest to the Steelers, and I will talk about that as well, how that might affect draft night. So, like we always say, and I'll say it when I get to that segment, man, free agency is always going to determine, the best guess and best speculation for us. Also, Cam Sutton is a wild card. And I will definitely explain that. I know most of you guys will probably already know where I'm going with that. But hey, got to throw it on there. And last but not least, man, rumors. The Steelers are high on Mason Rudolph being the starter in 2022. So we'll definitely discuss that as well. So let's do what we do first, man. Let's say hello to the early commenters and early viewers. Oh, man, Mr. Winningham, first comment of the night. How you doing, sir? Hope you're doing well. Hope everything is lovely. Miss Lanisha. Hello, Miss Lanisha. How you doing tonight? Always give the ladies a special hello. I see she was here early. Shadow Slayer. Leonard Green. Who else? And I see Leonard is saying hello, Lanisha. I appreciate you guys doing that, man. Saying hello to the ladies in the chat. We got to be gentlemen, right? Amon Bozeman. Destani Collins. Okay. You said name is produced Destiny. Oh. Okay. So, I don't want to assume. So if the name is see, that's my producer mind. If the name is pronounced Destiny, I'm assuming that you are another lady of the chat. I don't want to assume that, guys. There's a lot of unisex names, and there's also names that you wouldn't think would be for a woman, and there's also names you wouldn't think would be for a guy. I've heard it all. So I don't want to assume that, but Destiny, if you confirm that, then we're going to give you a special hello as well. Lydell Dorsey Jr., Jordan Mid, Bynor Johnson, Y Diggy, Still a Cut. Who else we got in here early? Zion Guzman, Big Rich 412. That's a Pittsburgher. Hello, Miss Odessa. How you doing, ma'am? How you doing? And I don't want to say ma'am either. Again, guys, I know sometimes some people think ma'am is saying old. Miss Lady, how you doing this evening, as well as Lanisha? So that's how I will address you lovely ladies as Miss Lady. What else we got? My good brother Kenyon in here, as if I thought he wouldn't be. And by the way, Kenyon is getting a lot of love. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I love when I can bring Kenyon on, bring Tony on, and we do the still table, and you guys appreciate that as well, because they, that's extended family, So I love that. And I even saw some people requesting Kenyon to be on more. So you're going to get what you're asking for, especially, during this off season. There's going to be more opportunities for still tables. and we'll get into chop it up, especially when we really hone in on prospective draft picks. Kenyon has already sent the list out. I've watched a few players, but haven't dived into everyone. I've been checking out some of the running backs, but don't worry. That's coming. And thank you, Destiny, for confirming that she is a female listener. So hello, Miss Lady. Thank you for coming through. It's always love and family here. And actually, I'm gonna give you some credit. I like the spelling of that name. I like when names are not always spelled the way they look, or and especially when it ends up being a name that you recognize, like Destiny. It's always cool to kind of see those names spelled a little different. So hello to you, and we appreciate you coming by. And look at that. Look at Lanisha being a lady already. She out there saying hello to Destiny. See how the ladies do, guys. They teach us how to act, right? All right, man. I've spent time on that, so let's get into the topics. Because again, as much as I tell you guys I'm going to be quick, I'm actually going to do that tonight and leave more room for phone calls. So let's see. Which topic do I want to hit first? Let us see. Which one tickles the fancy? Let's talk about J.J. Watt. This shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. That's all. That's all. According to Jeremy Fowler, most of you, that follow the Steelers would be familiar with who Jeremy Fowler is. According to Jeremy Fowler, the Steelers were in the mix. And perhaps that may be true. Obviously with his brothers being in Pittsburgh, a possible need for us. You can never have too many guys on the D-line, or as well as guys who can rush from the outside. You can never have too much of that. I was envisioning an opportunity of seeing TJ, the two Watts on the outside, right? And having Cam and Tua inside. That would have been beautiful to see, just to see. Whether you think J.J. Watt is what he once was, probably not. We all know, sack numbers are down and things like that, but his age is up, attrition is up, injuries, but still, he still gives you something. He's still somebody that you have to account for. I would have loved to have seen that, and it would have been cool, man. How cool is that to get the opportunity to play literally opposite your brother on the field? That would have been dope. However, here's the thing that sometimes fans fail to remember, or fail to acknowledge, or fail to even understand. Hey, Chris Tucker made a movie, called it, right? Him and Charlie Sheen. The movie was called Money Talks. Money talks, and you know what walks. Now, let me explain to you what I mean when I'm talking about J.J. Watt. Plain and simple. From what we're reading, the deal was for 2 years, $31 million, $23 million guaranteed. You tell me if the Pittsburgh Steelers were really in the mix to pay that type of money. Given the cap situation that most of us know that the Steelers will be facing, given the situation that we know with Ben Roethlisberger needing to restructure, we already know if there's going to be a large money amount like that, especially guaranteed, $23 million guaranteed, they not spending that on a defensive lineman, defensive end, whatever you want to classify him as. They won't doing that. So sure, was Pittsburgh in the mix? I'm sure they was in the mix. I'm sure they were. But did you really think that they were going to be able to land him? And I know what you're thinking, fans. I know what you're thinking. Man, he should have just played with his brothers. He's made money. I get it. But we're saying that sitting on our couches. It's always going to be about the money, man, especially when these dudes are putting their bodies at risk. Some might even say their life's at risk. That's what it comes down to. Money talks, pretty much. So we did not have a chance to land J.J. Watt. However, I will say this. Now, you never know who will see your video, so I talk in this camera as if the world is going to see it. That's just how I am. I'm cut from that type of cloth. Nothing is too small or too big for me, right? So I talk in this camera as if the world is going to hear it. So let me talk to you, J.J. Watt, in case you actually come across this video. Clearly, it was about the money. Man, I'm not trying to be funny and, no shade at Arizona, but, listen, I like the young pieces they got out there. I like what Kelemete is going to do in this league. even more so than what he's done. I love DeAndre Hopkins. That's come on, man. He's been in my top 5 for many years, as many people, right? However, how many more years you got, JJ? I mean, if you only sign a 2-year deal, you're probably not playing much longer after that. His body is kind of broken down. Arizona ain't winning no Super Bowl in the next 2 years. I don't foresee that. Just look in the NFC. Look in the division. You got the Rams who are feeling like they've retooled. They got their quarterback of choice now. You got my boy Russell and the Seahawks, and who knows what's going to happen there. There's rumors out there that maybe a trade situation could happen. Who knows? But as it stands now, you got the Seahawks, and you got the Rams, and you got who am I forgetting, guys? Who am I forgetting? There's another team. The Rams, the Seahawks, the Niners. The Niners. You would expect the Niners to come back. I'm just saying. That ain't no easy win, player. That ain't a team that's ready to win right now. So, clearly, again, it's about that bread. All about the Benjamins, baby. It's all good, though. I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at him earning a paycheck or earning more on his check on the latter end of his career. If somebody's willing to give him $23 million guarantee, I guarantee 23. Yeah, that works for me. So Arizona, that's where I will be if I was him. So there you have it. That's all I got on a JJ Watt. What do I want to go to next? So the Texans release offensive lineman Senio Kelemete, if I'm saying that correctly, or Kelemete, and Nick Martin, who is their center. Now, if I'm not mistaken, both of these guys, from what I read, they're both right about 30, 31, maybe one of them. Clearly, listen, here's the thing. Clearly, the cap situation is not affecting everybody. It's affecting everybody the same. The cap is expected, to not be but so high. They did say that they expect it to be a minimum of 180, so it's not the very bottom, but still not that great. However, looks like a lot of teams will be cutting players, man. So this is going to be a very interesting offseason, especially if the cap doesn't move much. It's going to be very interesting, especially still with, whatever effects COVID will still have on the NFL season. We know it's still going to affect pro days. We know it's affected the combine. We know it will affect somewhat the draft. I don't know if the plans have come out yet, but we saw last year that the draft was virtual, and that's when things were starting to heat up. What about now when the damage has clearly been done in America as far as the numbers and all of that? And even if we're starting to decline, as we kind of are globally as far as, the whole country, you still feel like by April, I'm not sure if they still would be willing to do that. So there you have it. Draft will probably be affected again. Then we don't know how that's going to affect rookie minicamp. Then we don't know how that's going to affect training camp. So my point being, cap not being but so high, teams being in a cap situation, is going to be a lot of veterans that are cut and a lot of veterans that are re-signed by other teams. So I say that to say this. Steelers, what do we need? Who just retired? Marquise Pouncey. I know some guys hate him. Some guys love him. He was our starting center. Might not be a bad idea to give a call to a guy like, Nick Martin and see what you can get him for, instead of drafting a guy. And the reason why I say instead of, because this is why I say that. It's that business game, right? You got to play the odds. Do you look in the draft this year and do you think the center that you want is there? A guy that, you could turn into something. Might not have to be the first round, second round. It could be a later guy. But the thing is, do you plug that hole now and look for that replacement later? Or do you find the guy now, get him on a 4-year minimum contract, low contract as far as a rookie? It all comes down to how the business plays out. Maybe the Steelers want to address other needs and they feel like they can get a stopgap in a center, catch a guy who's good enough, kind of like what they did with Steven Wisniewski last year at guard. They got him for depth, old veteran, They figure if he had to play, which he did play a little bit, you could use him. See what I'm saying? They might go the same route with the center. So just keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on these other teams, man, that are letting, offensive linemen, walk, or guys who get cut, especially ones who get cut, because you would think their value is not as high as a free agent. Keep an eye on that, man. And again, once we see what the Steelers are doing, what type of moves they may or may not make, especially the ones they do make, that's going to help us shape more of our speculation for the draft. So keep your eyes on that, man, to see exactly what the Steelers are going to do. I don't oppose that at all. I don't oppose grabbing, if the guy that you love is not there, primarily at center. Even if the Steelers wanted to, double dip, maybe they go in the draft, they get one of the tackles, right? And then in the free agency, they get a center. There you have it. And you see what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting, man. Let's keep our eyes on these guys, though, just to see if they kind of circle their way to Pittsburgh. The next thing I wanted to talk about here, guys, is Cam Sutton is going to be a wild card while we're talking about draft. Kind of talked about this last week, but seems like Mike Hilton won't be back. And I know none of this stuff is actual confirmation, but if you listen to some of the reports, I even heard, Dave and Dave, that's the old show, Dave and Alex on the Turbo Podcast, they mentioned that, if you kind of look at social media, it kind of seems like Mike Hilton is kind of counting down to the days of, when free agency starts. I even saw him last week. He was on vacation. Shout outs to Mike Hilton. I give you credit from a brother to another. Had you a nice little young lady with you. I saw you player. I see you player. Nice little young lady he was with. Looked like he was enjoying himself, having a good time, right? But if you look at some of the other things, it kind of seems like he is kind of like, I'm just waiting for this clock to tick down, right? So, again, I don't know how much you read into that. There's no concrete evidence of that unless a guy comes out and says, look, I ain't coming. You know what I'm saying? But we all had probably speculated that Mike Hilton is going to be worth a lot of money because of the way he played in Pittsburgh. And is that a position that you are going to spend real money on right now? We're in quite of a pickle situation, if you really want to be honest about it, in Pittsburgh. Trying to figure out what they're going to do with Roethlisberger and where is that number going to come in, the reworking of the deal, and it's probably going to be the voidable years. And then on top of that, you have to go all out to try to win now. Not saying that Mike Hilton wouldn't be a key component to that, because he has been a key component to the structure of that defense with his blitzing and the sacks that he's gotten, with his run stopping ability. He's been very good against the run and has been decent in coverage at times. Not the best cover man. I would take Cam Sutton over Hilton in that regard, but Hilton has been absolutely solid. He's going to earn some money, and I just don't know if the Steelers are going to exhaust their funds there. So you look at Cam Sutton, and we've talked about this before, but you really got to pay attention to that. Let's say they don't bring him back. Now we're looking at the draft a little differently. I've already said cornerback is in play. At some point, I feel like they're going to draft a cornerback at some point. And I know, the Pierre kid is showing some bright spots, but I'm almost certain they're going to get a cornerback at some point. But if you lose Hilton and Sutton, they might be looking a little earlier to fill that position, because now you need somebody to be able to play slot right now and do some of the things that Cam Sutton was able to do for us in the dime. He's a wild card. Let's keep an eye. Again, another reason why he's a wild card, we've seen Cam Sutton play on the outside as well. He's filled in for Hayden. That's why he's a wild card, because if you get him back, you got options, right? As far as what he can do, flexibility, move him inside, move him outside. You lose him, you're losing a guy with versatility, and you're losing your starting nickel in Hilton. So if we lose both of them, keep your eyes on the draft, bro. Keep your eyes on the draft. Next on the docket. Yeah. I'm actually going to take a sip of water on this one. What's up, Leonard, father-in-law? How you doing? Leonard, you probably will enjoy this conversation. Let me take another sip of water. I got to get myself mentally prepared for what you guys are probably going to say in the chat. Y'all let me know if that music is too loud. I can actually hear it in the headphones here. So let me know if I may have turned it up by accident. If it's too loud, y'all let me know. I'll turn it down. This is a rumor. But let's just say this. A lot of things that we've seen might make us believe in this rumor. They say that the Steelers are very high on Mason Rudolph being the starter in 2022. So that's the rumor, is that the Steelers may even sign an extension, like a 2-year deal or something with Rudolph. Maybe may do a little extension with him and let him know, listen, you're going to be our guy in 2022. The job is yours to keep or lose. Which would mean may not go draft. They may not go quarterback in the draft. That's what that means to me. It doesn't mean they couldn't bring in another guy to compete, but let's just say they get that done. If they get that done, then I'm telling you right now, they probably not drafting a quarterback. Dwayne Haskins, yes, he will probably make the team as the third. They're going to kick the tires on him to see what they can get out of a young talent. Yes, I said it. A young talent. He's a young talent. Now, did he pan out in Washington? No. But the kid is still young enough for you to see what he has. Even Kevin Colbert said publicly, listen, this is a no-brainer deal for us. It doesn't, he literally said it doesn't cost us anything. When a GM says that, when a GM said it doesn't cost us anything, that's letting you know they have no intentions of letting him go. They're going to see what he got, especially if Roethlisberger and everything goes the way we think, and they are going to, get his contract worked out, and he actually does return for this season coming up. It's going to be Rudolph at the 2, Haskins at the 3, more than likely. But especially if they do any type of situation extension deal with Rudolph, yeah. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, brother, will be our starter in 2022. So, yeah. And it's funny, I'm looking in the chat here. I see some guys say Haskins sucks. Somebody else says, I'll take Haskins. Listen, man, again, guys, we have to stop thinking so much like just fans. And trust me, I know it's hard. Guys, I'm telling you, cut me, and black and gold is going to come out, man. Listen, I get it. But you have to look at things more objectively. And even if you don't want to, allow me to be that. That's part of the reason why I started this podcast, because I'm a regular fan like you guys. I'm not a media guy. I'm not a journalist. I'm just a dude who loves and knows football, right? That's a passion. I played the sport. I love it. And I love the Steelers. So I figured, you know what? Why don't I be the show that not a whole lot, you don't see it. And I know there's others probably on YouTube. Sure. And shout outs to all of you guys. I'm just saying, why not just be the voice of reason for us regular, typical, average Joe fans and put some perspective on it? Because I know it's hard. It's very hard for people to get away of that fandom. You just, it's the same reason why everyone was screaming and yelling about J.J. Watt. It's just the thought of it. Steelers fans just get excited off the thought, but they don't think about the reality. So, hey, man, I don't think that Haskins signing was wrong at all. What if he turns out to be something? And it doesn't cost you anything. That's called good business. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not taking quarterback off the table. I saw a mock that said that that Justin Fields could fall to the Steelers at 20. I'm not taking it off the table. You never know when the draft comes. You never know who's on the big board for the Steelers, and you never know who's going to fall for whatever reason. And the guy's right there for you to grab. And sometimes, even if you ain't looking for a certain guy or a certain position, there's some players you just can't pass up. But I can say this with confidence. If they do anything with Rudolph in this offseason before the draft, they ain't got no intentions of going after a quarterback. Just my thoughts. All right, let's talk about the last and final thing, man. Then we'll get to the phone calls. JuJu Smith-Schuster. So, the modern day news media source, the most reliable, I guess you would say. Honestly, they have a good track record with some faults too, but TMZ tracked him down about a day or so ago. They tracked him down. And they asked JuJu Smith-Schuster where he'd want to be, and asked him about Coach Tomlin. And let me say that as an aside. Hopefully Coach Tomlin is doing okay. We haven't heard any updates, but I would assume, with him saying last week that there was mild symptoms, I definitely would assume that, he's doing all right. But hopefully everything's all right. I pray for him and his family, everyone around him, because what we don't know, is who else in the household was affected. You know what I mean? So, again, I'm always going to have a soft spot for that. A lot of you guys know why, obviously we all should, have a soft spot for COVID, because right now we all probably know someone who's been affected, but you guys know my story. I'm always going to have a soft spot for that. So hopefully him and his family is okay. So prayers and love to the Tomlin family. Another aside real quick, Ben Roethlisberger's birthday. Go on, Ben. Happy birthday to Big Ben Roethlisberger. 39 years old. Not sure how I feel about that, but 39 years old. He's not old for the earth, but that's getting that's up there in football. Not many quarterbacks are able to continue to do it at a high level. At when they basically poking 40, like they can almost touch it. But hey. If I'm being honest, Roethlisberger's arm looked okay to me last year. Accuracy was a bit off, but arm strength wasn't a problem. So, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I can go either way with it. Like I said, guys, and I know I'm going off my point a little bit, but let me just say this. I'm of the mindset that the Steelers are not a Super Bowl team and won't be in 2021. I mean, of course, we don't know what the final pieces are, but I'm just saying I don't know. I don't know if I have enough faith in thinking they will be that, especially with all of the considering. If you consider right, all that they may lose. You consider all that they may lose. It's almost hard to think. It's almost hard to think, guys, that the Steelers will be able to rebound enough players and acquire enough players to put a more competitive roster on the field. So that's why I just don't think we're a Super Bowl team. So I say all that to say, if Ben Roethlisberger walked now, I'm cool with it. Again, Ben is always going to have a special place for me. That's my quarterback. I only saw Super Bowls with him. I wasn't around for the 70s team. So Ben will forever be ingrained in my memory and always have a spot in my heart because he allowed me and so many great moments. But, it's time. It's time. So if they decide to move on this year, I get it. But if they bring him back one more year, I get it. So I'm either way with it. But shout outs, man, to C. Antoine Hill, man. Let me stop for a moment to give him credit and applause, man. I don't know if you guys are going to hear it. Actually, I don't even have it hooked up tonight. I figured out how to still allow you guys to hear it, so I'll bring that back to you, next week. But let's do one of these. You can hear that. Round of applause. Thank you for the donation. Let's read his comment. He said, if Mason starts, he's only going to max out 2 years because of lack of talent. Shaking my head. DCs around the league will easily tear him apart. He's a one trick, just a pocket pass. That's it. Okay. Respect the opinion, man. Respect the opinion, C. Antoine. And I know you are a mobile quarterback type of guy, so I respect where you're coming from with that. But at the end of the day, I'll give my opinions about players, but at the end of the day, I hope they pan out, man. If the Steelers decide to stick with these guys, I hope they pan out. So it really doesn't do me much good to tear them down. Of course, that's what we do week after week. We'll talk about players and say what they're good at, what they're not good at. But at the end of the day, if they decide they're going to run with him, then I'm going to get behind him and hope he does well. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. But there ain't much we can do about it. But salute. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. And clearly, this new little ticker thing I got going on isn't working because it should have recognized your donation. So I'm going to cut that off. But thank you for that. But yeah, man. I mean, listen. We'll see. We'll see. If the Steelers, it's going to be interesting. Let's say this: it'd be interesting if they can't or if they don't re-sign Mason next year. Because remember, his contract expires too. So the Steelers would be down essentially 2 quarterbacks. So if they were smart, I know you guys don't agree with it, but if they were smart, you would go ahead and talk to Mason Rudolph now and let him know that his only opportunity to start will be with the Steelers come next season. And then they draft a quarterback in next year's draft. So, I don't know. We'll see. But back to JuJu, man. Spoke with TMZ, and he basically told him, listen, his exact words was he wants to build his legacy in Pittsburgh and retire a Steeler. But then, of course, again, if you scour the internet, you'll find out, from many sources that JuJu commented on Zach Banner's, post. Zach Banner put a post, I believe, on Instagram saying that he's going to, get rid of his social medias or he's going to be off of social media until he signs his new deal. And JuJu said, I wish I could get one too. So, of course, this is what they're supposed to do. Even Steelers Depot, you're supposed to report the news. That's their business. But, people are speculating now, was JuJu basically saying that there hasn't been any conversation and they're not close. But technically, I mean, they probably wouldn't have done a whole lot of that anyway right now until at least the new league season officially begins. As far as when it's wide open, now we're approaching it. But I don't know. And I think, because I don't think the new league has started officially yet, right? And I could be wrong with that, but I think it doesn't really start until right around free agency. But it should be coming up in a few more days, if I'm not mistaken. But I wouldn't read so much into that. But it's something to keep an eye on. Maybe he knows what we don't know, and maybe he knows that they can't sign him. Whether you guys believe it or not, JuJu gonna be worth a lot of money out there. Yeah. For all you guys that don't like JuJu gonna get paid, bro. JuJu about to get paid out there. Shout outs to Big Rich, man. I appreciate the donation, man. He says, yo, we need JuJu Yeah, we do, man. We need JuJu, fam. We really do. We really do. March 17th. Okay, that's what I thought. We really need him, man. I know some of you guys don't like him. I love JuJu. I don't understand how when you watch what happens on the field, how could you have such huge hate for JuJu? Let me give you guys that hate JuJu a pass. Maybe you just didn't like what you saw out of him last year. Maybe fair, maybe not fair. When you got Duck Hodges and you got Mason Rudolph throwing you the football, we really couldn't see what JuJu could be as a quote-unquote go-to guy. This year, you saw a little difference with Ben Roethlisberger back, but also Ben Roethlisberger was spreading the wealth. And we always have to remember this fact. JuJu might not be a number one like Antonio Brown. Remember, Steelers fans, we're spoiled. We're spoiled. You know why we're spoiled? Because the last number one receiver that we saw that we knew was Antonio Brown. He leaves and JuJu steps into that role. So then most of you guys are comparing him to Antonio Brown. No, he might not ever be that. But he does the dirt, the grind, the grit, blocks. I mean, his mentality, all of that on the field. I want him. I want him back. And what is he now, 24? Being the veteran in the group? Come on, man. I want to get him back, but I just don't think, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen, man, because, I think his value is up there. And I know people are going to say, well, man, he should take the hometown discount if he wants his legacy. I get all of that. What did I say earlier about JJ? And I don't mean that like in a negative way when I say money talks, but guys have to think about their future and their career. So the Steelers are going to have to pay. I mean, hometown discount. Let's say he was estimated to get 16 a year. Hometown discount might be like the Steelers can get him for 14. Right? However, is he going to cost too much? Is he going to cost too much for the Steelers to spend? We all have to wait and see, man. But if my vote is bring JuJu on back, that's my guy. Yeah. And my brother Tony just said it correctly, man. He says JuJu is our new Hines Ward, plus more. Yes. Yes. He is, man. So those are just my thoughts, guys, as far as the whole JuJu. He wants to be back, but again, it's a business. Let's never lose sight of that. And I promise you, let me get closer so you guys can really hear me when I say this. I promise you, the salary cap will get better once Ben is gone. And I'm not saying that negatively, guys. I'm just keeping it a buck, keeping it real. We won't be in this situation when Roethlisberger retires. That's what happens when your quarterback has earned $253 million. That's what happens. That's what happens. You go into your final season with a cap hit of $41 million. But that's all I got, man. Let's see what y'all got in the phone queue, man. Let's see if y'all got any calls for me tonight. We got a couple. And y'all know the routine. Don't be long. 'Cause I know some of you guys will come on and y'all will say, yeah, I know we ain't supposed to be that long, but ain't no but. In and out. And I don't care if it's only 2 or 3 calls in the queue because you never know how many calls might come in. So we got to be fair to everybody. All right, let's get to it, man. Looks like our good friend, Mr. Winningham, is the first one. Let me grab him. Let me make sure I got the browser on so I can hear him. You guys can hear him. All right, here we go. Area code 803. How you doing tonight?
Good evening, brother. How you doing tonight?
Good. Doing well.
Good. Wonderful. This is an exciting time. I get excited around free agency and draft time because you look at all the mock drafts you want, and it never come out the way you think it's going to come out. It happened that year with when we drafted Edmonds.
Good.
You were talking about center. Yeah, I think we should probably try to pick up a decent center, maybe as a stopgap. The center position for the Steelers is like the Pope. We don't have centers that come around that often. It's more, they last for a long time for us. Anyway, from I forgot the man before Mike Webster, but anyway, I think a Nick Hartwig who served as a stopgap between the two Hall of Fame, well, soon the Hall of Fame centers that we have. So I think that'll be a good thing. I'm wondering whether this year guys like Bud Dupree, you guys talked about him last week, didn't expect him to come back this year, or JuJu, with the salary cap being the position there where it is, that these guys might take a gamble on themselves and sign a 1-year deal for the Steelers. I hope that's a situation that will come true. Lastly, I'm thinking the way this draft is going to be, if we sign a center, get a guy like a Landon, I think his name is Landon Collins, the center for Alabama. He has knee problems. I hope that we take that first-round draft pick, if we don't have the guy that we really want, trade down and pick up players that we can really use in the second, third, and fourth, and maybe get a fifth-round pick in there. Thank you very much. I hope everybody have a great week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Winningham, for calling like always. And I'll just comment on one thing you said before I move on to the next call. You make a huge point there that some people may not have realized or might not even have thought about. That is possible. It's always in the player's hand, right? It is possible. I don't know if it's plausible, but it's possible that Bud Dupree feels like I might not earn the same after my injury. Let me go ahead and re-sign. Let's get a 1-year deal here with the Steelers. I'm going to bet on myself. Take a little less because, again, he's got to prove himself. Has a phenomenal season, stays healthy, gets paid next time. Possible, yeah. Will it happen? I don't know. But it is possible. Same thing with JuJu. That's possible. You never know. You never know what happens at the negotiation table, especially in JuJu's case when the guy wants to be in Pittsburgh. JuJu, think about it. He's so giving and all that. He's the type of kid, and this is just me just spitballing. He's the type of kid that'd be like, look, what I got to sign so that y'all can really sign the real deal next year after our cap is better. He's that type of guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's all possible. Whether it's plausible, we don't know. All right, let's move on, man. We got 4 more in the queue, so I need you guys to be quick for me, and I will be quick with my responses as well. Next up, area code 678. What you got for us?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Sim.
Yes, sir.
I'm in agreement with 03. I think I said a few weeks ago that I believe we need a center. We need a dog like Pouncey was, and I believe that Matt Fowler needs to move from guard back over to that right tackle. Put Dotson at guard. We need to find somebody to replace Villanueva. Man, if I had to go down the dark alley, Sim, with the quarterbacks that I have on the roster now, I'd rather take my chances with Big Ben than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? He can read defenses. I mean, and he knows the division. So if I had to roll with anybody, as a matter of fact, I'd rather roll with the same squad that we had last year and just hope like the offensive line could block better, get that running game going. And the wide receivers, please just hold on to the football. You know what I'm saying? I think, that'll take us at least to the playoffs. Now, when we get to the playoffs, anything's possible once you get to the playoffs. Just don't snap the ball over the quarterback's head. And, I think we'll do a little better than what we did this year anyway. But I'm real quick with it tonight. Thank you for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. You're very welcome, man. And listen, I'm going to agree with him on this side of things. We complain about the team, man, because we lost in the playoffs, right? And we lost our last, 4 out of 5 or something like that. We went 11, might be more than that. My math is off, but we went 11-0, ended up 12-4. So we complain. But honestly, like he said, what if we had a run game this past season? Then what? Maybe we're a little more formidable. And I know some people are going to say, yeah, well, you still gave up X amount of points against. Yeah, but when you can run that ball, that changes everything, right? That's a few less stops that the defense got to make. That's more time that the Steelers possess the football. So, however, here's the comma but, 678. Boy, we got a lot of restricted free agents. So that's the only problem, man. We really not going to see that same squad. But you're right. I think as much as I say it's time, I think Ben got enough in the tank to still get it done. He played well enough to help to get it done, especially if we had a run game. So we shall see. Next up, 330. What you got for us?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yo, what up? It's Durham, man. Couple of things. One, I feel Pittsburgh should go after Wade from Ohio State. He can play corner and he can play the inside nickel and he can play the outside. And also, rumor has it that Doug is going to be a free agent and BJ is going to be a free agent again. So Pittsburgh should look at get somebody who already know our system and who has played center for us and played very well. That's all I got.
Yeah, man. Hey, I love the ideas that I'm hearing, man. I need to take a look at Wade. I don't know right off the top of the head how good or how ungood he is. And I know ungood ain't. Is that a word? It's probably a word, but in the way I just used it is completely wrong. I haven't watched him much, but I've seen mixed reviews. Some people say he's a bust, already. Like, oh, he ain't going to be good. And some people say he'll be a stud. It's weird. But I love the ideas that you threw out. Everybody's throwing out, man. And like 803 said, this is the best time of the year because what it does do, this is a little sidebar, it forces all of us to look at the team or look at players and how they will fit. So even if you're not even if you're a fan, it's just a casual fan, that's fine. It still kind of forces you to get in that analytics box a little bit and kind of look at the team. So that's what I love about this time of the year as well. Thanks for the call, man. We got two more guys. Area code 202. What you got for us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, this is my first time calling in from the DC area, and I really enjoy your show. And I just wanted to say, I just don't really feel like the run game can be fixed in 1 year.
Yeah.
Just because our offense will always be limited because of Big Ben's, he's just a liability. I just wanted to tell you the stat. I think Dak Prescott played 5 games. He threw 58 play-action passes. Big Ben played, obviously, the whole season, and he threw 48. It's just not feasible to have a successful run game when we don't run play-action. And it's something that's going to hamstring the Steelers. And then you also have to think there's probably going to be 2 or 3 new starters on the offensive line. And then lastly, I wanted to say, I just hope they re-sign Cam Sutton. I really feel like they should value his cover skills as a guy who can play on the inside and out. And yeah, well, thanks for taking my call. And I really enjoy your show. Mm-hmm.
Man, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate you saying that. And here's a funny that you probably would laugh at that you probably wouldn't believe. You're from the D.C. area, so you might know where I'm at. I live in York, Pennsylvania, right? It's about an hour and change away from Baltimore. Would you believe that I actually work in D.C.? Now, let me explain that, folks. My home office is in D.C., right? And before COVID, I would commute to the home office 1 day a week. Not bad, right? I mean, for people who know the area here, I know there's listeners that listen that are from York, making a D.C. salary, living in York, Pennsylvania. All about the Benjamins, right? I said that a little earlier. See how things come back full circle? Can't pass that up. So if I got to go in for a day, and here's another quick funny story. Not funny because, pandemic and all. I just realized earlier today that March the 6th, 2020 was the last time I was in my home office. Because, of course, again, remember I said I go in once a week, which is usually Fridays. When the pandemic started growing, my job decided that on the 13th, which was a Friday, we were going to test work from home for everybody in the company. It was successful. That following Monday, March 16th, they put in the policy that we have now and everybody's remote. So who knows when we'll go back. And that's pretty crazy, right? But I just wanted to share that, man, because, I'm familiar with the D.C. area. Before I lived in Pennsylvania, I lived in the Maryland, right on the D.C. edge for a while. So very familiar with that area. So thanks for calling. And I know that's a sidebar, right? But I will comment on what he said. He's absolutely right. I don't think you fix it in a year either. What you might be able to do in a year, and you guys probably are hearing this noise, that's my condensation pump running, so sorry for that, guys. It'll cut off in a moment. What you might be able to do in a year is Matt Canada might be able to create some creative ways for us to get the run game going. right? But completely fixing it, you might be right. Might not happen in one season. So thanks for calling, man. I really appreciate it. I love when new callers come through. Last but not least, we have one more call of the night. Area code 559. What you got for us?
Hello? Can
Hello?
you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Love from California. So what is your thoughts on how JuJu wants to stay a Steeler for his career?
Okay, I'll give my thoughts on that. Is that all?
That's about it, yeah. I'm a Bears fan, so I don't really keep up with the Steelers, but
Hey, man, no problem. Anytime I can get someone calling that's not even a Steelers fan, hey, I appreciate that. So I will definitely answer your question, and I definitely thank you for your call. So thank you for that. And he also sounds like a younger person of the world. So that always excites me. You know, when a younger, y'all know how we was when we was young, right? We weren't trying to hear what nobody of age was saying. So that's always cool, man. I listen, y'all think it's corny or whatever, but I really appreciate that stuff. New callers, young callers, female callers, all of those things that some people take for granted, right? So, but yes, I love it. I love that JuJu wants to be a Steeler because, again, it shows that his commitment. He has basically adopted the city of Pittsburgh since he's been in Pittsburgh. For those of us who are Steelers fans, we know what he does outside, all of the giving that he does, and such a good spirit. And I know, some people will say, oh, well, it's just YouTube content. I know he has his YouTube channel, which he's built up to be rather large, I might add. But the stuff he was doing was genuine, like the Christmas giveaway. Like, he's a good guy, and he likes Pittsburgh. So to hear him say that he wants to, build his legacy in Pittsburgh and retire a Steeler, that means the world to a Steeler fan because it lets us know that he's committed. He's committed. He's not just trying to run somewhere else. But again, I'm not going to be mad at him if he does, man. Listen, it's all about the money, man. It's a business. It is a business. And speaking of the Bears, I hope you guys get that quarterback situation together. I will never forgive the Bears for doing what they did, moving up the very minimal space that they moved up to get Trubisky when you had guys like Deshaun Watson on the table, Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying. I think Patrick Mahomes. I think that was that same year. I could be wrong. But you move up that far to get you move up like a spot to get Trubisky when he clearly would have been there. That was if the Steelers would have done that, I would have lost my mind. But I'll bow out. This is not a Bears podcast, so I'm not going to harp on them. But great calls tonight, man. Great calls tonight. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chat, man. We did it in less than an hour. Can you believe that? We're at about 53 minutes now, so I'll spend a little time here in the chat. Okay, Tony is talking about, what y'all talking about, man? Talk about Maryland. He said, Lanisha, I live in Howard County. Simmons, an hour and 10 minutes away. It's expensive. Yes, Lord, it's expensive in Howard County. Hold on, let me go back and see what Lanisha said. Lanisha, are you in the area somewhere? In the DMV? Somebody said Tony got money. You hear that, Tony? They count your pockets out there. Count your pockets out there. Let's see. Kenya says Bruce Arians started Ben on this not getting hit stuff. Haley took it to the next level, and Fietner had no chance. So that's why our new offense won't be fully emerged until he's gone. I fully agree with that. I mean, Kenya, it's crazy for me to have to say I agree with. We all the talking we do offline, so you already know how I feel about that. But for you guys that don't know, Kenya's right. And we said as much a couple weeks ago on the show. We said, remember when I said it makes us wonder how much of Matt Canada we'll see with Ben at the helm? Because again, of course you want to keep your quarterback comfortable, but at the same time, he knows what he knows. I don't even want to use the word willing, but for lack of a better term? Is he going to be willing to learn a new offense in this stage of his career? So that's one reason. The other reason is, I'm sure Kenyon alluded to last week, Ben is not the type of quarterback that can run that offense. So, yeah, that's that. You know what I mean? Yes, Miss Lady Destiny. Let's read her comment, man. She says, I think all quarterbacks definitely have a style they prefer, and it takes a system to change that, like BA did for Tom this year. Give Ben a preseason to see if he can get a bit more creative with Canada. I like the way you think. I like the way you think there, Destiny, and you're absolutely right. Now, I will honestly say, didn't watch the Patriots enough to know how much was changed, but clearly there was some change there with, Arians and, let's not forget Byron Leftwich. And it worked out. They had a great defense. They started off slow, but, like the late, great Nipsey Hussle, like his album said, man, album was Victory Lap, but like he always said, it's a marathon. It's a marathon. They started off slow. The next thing you know, these guys are Super Bowl champions. So there you have it. Take that however you want. Brian Shaw says Tomlin has not hired a black coordinator in 14 years. You talking about offensive and defensive? Now, I just want to challenge your statement there. Not in a I challenge you way, but I want you to allude to, elaborate on that a little more, because what I think you might be saying, if you're saying that, I don't know what you're saying, so I don't want to speculate, because maybe you said something earlier. Let's just assume you're alluding to the fact that he won't hire a black coordinator. I don't think it has anything to do with them being black per se, because clearly Tomlin has hired quite a few black coaches and keeps quite a few on staff and has continued that trend. Now, if you're referring to someone that someone may have said, if someone may have said earlier in the chat that what about this person, that person, and that person, and that person is black, and you're replying to them, forgive me. But I need you to elaborate a little bit on what you're saying so I can, have the right context and get into it. Jamal Washington says, I bought JuJu hoodie and that cologne, and my goodness, it smells good. All right, Jamal. So JuJu know what time it is, huh? All right. Why Diggy says Tomlin doesn't really hire his coordinators. There you go, Diggy. That's where I was going. Let's see. Who is this? Fonzarelli. I like that. Fonzarelli. Yeah. Some of y'all know where that's from. How do you think the Steelers should prioritize their draft and free agency options as far as O-line and running back goes? I spoke on that a little bit earlier, but I'll be quick with it here. It all depends on who's out there. Free agency wise, if you can get a center, veteran center, you can get them for fairly cheap. I'm cool with that, because even though Marquise Pouncey left, I still would like to have a tackle right now. If you had to force me to choose what position on the offensive line I would prefer to get, it would be tackle. And it probably would be either one, right or left. Primarily left. So if you could get a veteran center, we'll take care of that need temporarily. Great. Running backs, same way. We got some options at running back, and actually maybe we'll talk about that next week after I get a little more film under my belt. There's some options at running back, and it don't have to be Najee Harris. We ain't necessarily got to go in first round. That kid, Williams from Carolina? Whoa. I got another game to watch from him, but whoa. Talk about somebody that don't go down off of, one contact. There ain't no one man really bringing him down. Y'all already know. Kenyon has spoken on this guy as well. There's Sermon. That's out. We don't necessarily have to go Najee. So, as far as free agency, we'll see. Now, of course, the rumor is that Aaron Jones, I don't know. How much is the market for running backs? I'd take Aaron Jones, but I don't know if that's really going to happen. And I honestly, I don't know what the market is right now. I don't know who's going to be a free agent running back wise. So that's how I would approach it. Let's see real quick. Let me see if Brian Shaw replied. He just said yes. But that's not giving me much. So Brian said Shay talked about that on his show. Okay. So again, real quick, Brian, before I wrap up, are you alluding to the fact that you're saying that he won't hire them? Like it's intentional? Number one, I want to know if that's what you're saying, but then also, I tend to side with Why Diggy. I don't think that's entirely Tomlin's doing. I mean, again, if we gonna stay on that topic, and I'll stay there for a second. We're past our hour, but let's get it in real quick. I mean, you just saw Tomlin just recently said, his thoughts of the Rooney Rule. Speaking of coordinators, he just stuck up for Eric Bieniemy rather emphatically, right? He said basically every coordinator that has been under Andy Reid has had an opportunity as a head coach in the NFL, yet Eric Bieniemy doesn't get one. And this is Tomlin's doing. Tomlin's saying that. So that's why there's no way I would go with the side of him just not wanting to hire a black coordinator when now, just as recent as this week, he's coming out and saying in defense of why doesn't Eric Bieniemy have a job, and he doesn't feel, last week he said he doesn't feel like the Rooney Rule as far as what is producing is working. Loves the idea, but he says the results does not appear to be working. So with the man saying that, I don't think there's anything to him not hiring a black coordinator. But, I don't know these people personally. Who knows? Let's see. One more. Charlie Brown says Tomlin wanted to hire Caldwell before Haley. He said the Rooneys made the decision to hire Haley. Okay, I can believe that. Excuse me. Glock Lesnar says Mike Tomlin doesn't hire assistants. It's Rooney. Okay. Yep. I tend to agree with that as well, man. So I agree with that. So yeah, that's all I got, man. I think we can close on that. I do appreciate that topic though, Brian. I do. I appreciate that. He says Sim the OC of the Steelers. And speaking of which, man, in case you guys, you didn't see it, man, I know everyone doesn't know. I did post another Madden video. It was a few days ago. So if you haven't seen it, go check that out. I should be posting the next one relatively soon, either tomorrow or Thursday. Just for you guys who've been following the whole nutty virtual series there. I will read one last one, because I think I like where he's going here. Stilly Mike says, I'm confused what this issue is all about. League is 95% black with tons of black coaches. Should we just force teams to hire black coaches just because, laugh out loud, or do we want to eliminate all whites? Whoa. Now, let me take some of the harshness out of that comment. This is not me saying that. I'm reading Stilly Mike. And listen, I appreciate that comment. And I don't know if Stilly Mike is black, white, Asian, Latino, whatever. Let me give you my opinion. Now, we'll close the show with this. It's not about... Y'all want me to get really real with y'all? Really real. I mean, like, real for a second. I love my people, my culture, where I come from, all of that. I love being African American. That's all I know. I rep it to the fullest. I do it unapologetically, right? However, there are people in the black community I don't like either. There's certain people I don't want to live around either. You know what I'm saying? So it's not and that goes for all races, by the way. So it's not a thing of, this is not where I'm coming from. It's not a thing about how many you should have, because I actually hate that. And we're getting political real quick, but I hate that. I hate when people put a number on it. It's just like the person that would say, "Oh, I'm not racist. I know 2 Latino guys." That's a racist comment. if you keep a running tally, you see what I'm saying? It's not about the number. It's about opportunity. That's it. That's it. Now, I know the number is skewed, of course, because, and again, using your comment, yeah, there are a lot of coaches, but again, how many are head coaches and how many owners are there? So the discussion is about opportunity, not necessarily a number thing. It's about the opportunity. That's it. That's all. That's all. It's the same thing I said when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. I said, wow, look at that diverse coaching staff. Who was the head coach? I ain't no problem with Bruce Arians being the head coach. And last time I checked, Bruce Arians is not a black man. So it ain't about that. But what everybody talked about with Tampa Bay was like, wow, look at all that diversity. Got women on the staff. You got blacks on the staff, young and old. And look what they were able to do. That's all. It's all about opportunity, brother. So, I'm not sure which way you went or which way you didn't go, but that to me is the response to that comment. It's all about opportunity. MV. Shout outs to C. Antoine Hill for another donation. He says MB for MVP. Appreciate that. But yeah, and I don't know what else you guys may have said. I'm reading, just skimming through the comments here. I don't know what else, but hopefully I answered your question, Mike. Eric Chapp, I don't know if that's true or not. I've seen that surface. I've seen people say that JC might have a hand in the Steelers, and that would be crazy, man. But I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Steely Mike wrote back. He says, "Do you truly think the NFL wouldn't hire the best candidate like?" But we going down the wrong road. It's not about that. We're just saying, okay, and that's the argument that a lot of people say. I do believe the NFL, to a degree, would hire the best candidate. But I also believe that there's some other factors that go into play with a lot of these decisions. Let's not run from that. Let's not run from that. Like a guy like Adam Gase, how he keep getting opportunities? You understand what I'm saying? Let's not run from that. I don't know. I have no way of knowing. That's why I say I stay clear from what I don't know about. But what I do know about is it doesn't appear that the opportunity is there. Opportunity. Jim Caldwell was fired with a winning season. Yet, here's Matt Patricia. He's still just living off the Patriots way. So I'm just saying, I ain't got no problem with people. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem. I'm just saying. The optics would show you that it doesn't appear that the opportunity is there. It's not about the amount of people. But it's hard for me to believe that out of all these people that seem to be qualified as coordinators, and it's only 3 minorities, if I got that correctly, that are head coaches out of 32 teams. Come on, man. There's no way you're not telling me there was somebody else, even if it was a female. You're not telling me that there wasn't another minority, quote unquote, that could have been a best candidate. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, that Marvin Lewis, I have no idea. But anyway, Steely Mike, we appreciate your comment, but I'm not going to get into that with you because we're just not going to agree. So I wisely back away from conversations that doesn't really go anywhere. You have your opinion. I have mine. We can still be Steelers fans. What else y'all got, man? I'll stay here, stick around for maybe a couple more comments. Oh, hold on. My man, Brett, you had a comment, too, I wanted to get to. He said, yep, Sim, whenever I'm not a racist is spoken, usually the person is. Anybody uncomfortable with that? Well, that's what I'm saying, man. Come on, y'all know how it is around here, man. Y'all know how it is. Let's not, and again, I'm not blaming, I'm not accusing Steely Mike of that. I'm just saying, come on, man. We know what country we live in. That's all I'm saying. We know what country we live in. We know the history of the country. So we can't, it's hard to argue another narrative. That's all I'm saying. Regardless of that, truth is what it is, right? It's hard to argue another narrative. However, that has no effect on how I feel about any of you guys in the chat. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool. We still cool even after that comment. I'm just saying. But anyway, I think that was good. See, I like stuff like that. I like different topics. Y'all have no idea the type of stuff I like to talk about outside of sports. So that was cool. And shout outs to you, Steely Mike, man, for bringing up the topic in general. But anyway, man, I think that's it. I think I'll go ahead and get out of here. What do you know? We're about to wrap up before 9 o'clock. How is that possible? And I actually started on time tonight. Well, I was late 2 minutes, but that's all I got, man. You guys know the routine. Boom. Right there. If you haven't already done that, please, that's the least you can do is subscribe. The next least thing you can do is hit the notification button. And the least thing you can do is like the content if you like the content, because that really helps. That really helps. Just like. And again, shout outs to everybody who donated here. Shout outs to you all who prefer to donate outside of YouTube. That's always an option for you if that's what you prefer. All I have is Cash App and PayPal, and if that floats your boat, the information is in the description. Outside of that, I hope everyone has a great week. Keep your eyes open for the next Madden content. Again, I was going to try to get it done tonight, but I just couldn't make it happen before the show. I would have loved to have announced it on show. But I'm going to shoot for tomorrow or Thursday. So be on the lookout for that to see how those virtual Steelers are doing. And hopefully EA Sports, hopefully y'all can get back to some form of what you used to be so we can really have fun with franchise mode. I'm tired of making the game fun for me. I hope you get that quote. I'm tired of making the game fun. The game should be fun for me. I shouldn't have to make it fun. Hope you caught that. But anyway, that's going to do it. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay a part of Steeler Nation. Catch you guys next time. Peace.